Let's just jump right in. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking a really unsettling true encounter pulled straight from our source files. We're looking at how a totally innocent digital swipe morphed into an absolute nightmare. We all live for that instant connection these days, right? But as we're going to see, sometimes that connection opens a door that you literally cannot close again.
I mean, have you ever swiped on a dating app just out of sheer loneliness? It happens to the best of us. Today's Explainer dives into how 19-year-old Akash's vulnerability basically made him the perfect target for a supernatural trap. Picture this, it's a freezing cold night in Delhi. It's actually his 19th birthday, but the guy is completely broken. His girlfriend Mahika had just cheated on him, so he's hiding in a washroom while his best friend Rohan is throwing him a birthday party right outside. His emotional defenses are just totally shattered, and that makes him dangerously susceptible to what happens next.
So we kind of need to redefine what a match actually means for this story, because for Akash, this wasn't about romance at all. He's sitting there on the bathroom floor, he sees his ex post a picture with a new guy, and in this moment of just pure anger and helplessness, he downloads a dating app. And within minutes, a notification pops up. It's a match. The girl's name is Priya, and her profile picture is stunning. But guys, this wasn't serendipity. This was something sinister latching onto his emotional desperation. An invitation had just been accepted.
You really have to look at the timeline here because it is unnaturally, dangerously fast. Akash goes from crying over his ex in a locked bathroom at 2:30 a.m. directly to chatting with this total stranger. By the time the party outside clears out, they're texting so comfortably that he actually invites her over for the very next evening. Think about that. In under 24 hours, he goes from downloading an app in a fit of grief to physically opening his front door to a complete anomaly.
Which brings us to our first major section, red flags and cold hugs. You know when you're that deeply lonely, your brain has this weird way of rationalizing the impossible. Akash's craving for attention completely blinded him to some massive red flags. These escalating anomalies, they happened while they were only texting. That first night, Akash gets bold and texts Priya that he really needs a hug. She tells him to close his eyes and smile. The second he does, he physically feels two hands come out of his bed and grab him tight. He opens his eyes, totally panicked, and instantly his bedroom window just shatters into a million pieces. This absolutely proves the entity wasn't just on his phone, it was already in the room with him.
But before he can even process the shattered glass everywhere, his phone buzzes with this exact message. Lol, I hugged you so hard in my imagination, did it hurt you? I mean, any logical person would be running out the door, right? But Akash just accepts it. Why? Because that virtual attention, just the idea that someone cared enough to say that, was soothing his broken heart. He completely let his guard down, and that paved the way for the real nightmare at 8 p.m. the very next night.
So 8 p.m. rolls around and there's a knock. Akash's roommate is out, so he's totally alone. He opens the door, and there is Priya, wearing a beautiful dress. He goes in for a hug to welcome her, but instantly notices something is terribly wrong. Her body is literally as cold as ice. But once again, that rationalization kicks in. He tells himself it's just the freezing Delhi winter outside, completely ignoring the fact that her body temperature is completely unnatural. Instead of asking any questions, he just offers her a hoodie. Then, Akash walks over to close his wardrobe, and as he does, he catches the reflection of his bed in this large mirror. His breath just catches in his throat. The mirror shows the entity's true reality, this rotting, horrifying woman made of decaying flesh, just sitting right on his bed. But when he whips around in sheer panic, the bed is empty. Instead, the illusion of Priya is standing over by the window, smiling warmly, telling him she brought a birthday cake since his party was ruined.
Let's move into our next section, nightmares and dark secrets.
So despite that terrifying mirror illusion, his desperation keeps him in total denial. He literally sits down and eats the cake with her, but the haunting escalates so fast into a physical toll. While they're sitting there, Akash suddenly feels awful and rushes to the washroom. Our source notes some truly grotesque symptoms here. We're talking severe stomach and throat pain, choking, and then horrifically, he starts coughing up these strange black and yellow bugs into the sink. He's in a full-blown panic, suffocating. But the absolute exact second he spots Priya standing right behind him in the doorway, the bugs miraculously vanish, and she just calmly claims the door was open and she was worried because he was taking too long. Unbelievably, Akash chalks this up to food poisoning. Total denial, right? Priya gives him some medicine, tucks him into bed, and he falls asleep feeling someone stroking his hair all night long. But the morning completely shatters whatever illusions he had left. He wakes up to find the walls literally covered in blood-soaked footprints. He hears trying, walks over to the bathroom,
peeks through the door, and there she is, the same rotting woman from the wardrobe mirror, standing at the bathroom sink, weeping tears of blood. That is what finally forces him to flee the apartment in absolute terror.
This takes us to our third section, the guard's terrifying truth.
Akash literally sprints out of his flat and goes straight to the security guard for help. They walk back up to the apartment together, but when they go inside, everything is perfectly normal. No bloody footprints, no weeping woman. But then the guard looks at a trembling Akash and drops this absolutely devastating truth. He says that flat had been empty for years before Akash moved in. Why? Because a girl's dead body was found in that exact bathroom. When Akash nervously asks for the girl's name, the guard says, Priya. And just to add the final nail in the coffin, the guard checks the society's logbook. Absolutely no one had entered the building gates for Akash's flat the entire night.
This realization just completely shatters Akash's reality. Think about it. If Priya died in that bathroom years ago and no living person entered the building that night, who was Akash with? He wasn't just talking to a ghost. He had been intimately interacting with, eating with, and sleeping right next to a demonic mimic that had completely attached itself to his grief.
And that brings us to our final section, the match that never ends.
As soon as the guard leaves, Akash's phone starts ringing like crazy. It's Priya. He instantly deletes the app, completely turns off the phone, and frantically packs a bag. But escaping a supernatural attachment? Yeah, it's not that simple. Bag in hand, he opens his bedroom door to leave, and Priya is standing right in the doorway. She looks furious, demanding to know why he's ignoring her calls. As her anger peaks, her beautiful face just melts away, turning back into that monstrous, rotting woman. She grabs Akash by the throat, lifts him completely off the ground into midair, and screams, "This time I won't let you go anywhere!" His vision is fading, he's literally choking to death, but suddenly, the front door opens. It's his roommate, Rohan. The second Rohan steps inside, the entity just vanishes into thin air, dropping Akash to the floor.
Akash tells Rohan everything, and they evacuate that flat immediately. Several months pass by. Akash moves to a totally new flat. The terror slowly fades, his routines get back to normal, and that horrific incident just becomes this distant, repressed memory. But here's the thing Akash didn't realize. Supernatural attachments, they don't care about time, and they definitely don't care about geography.
So one night, Akash is alone in his new flat, working late on some office stuff. Sitting on his desk is his old phone, the exact one he powered off and abandoned months ago. Out of nowhere, the dead phone's screen just lights up on its own. A notification chimes. It's a match. With trembling hands, he picks it up. The phone's front camera activates all by itself, and looking into the screen, he doesn't just see his own terrified face. He sees Priya standing directly behind him.
It's such a chilling, abrupt end to the source material, and it leaves you with this heavy, lingering sense of dread. As we wrap up today's explainer, I really want to leave you with this takeaway. We put so much of our emotional vulnerability into our devices, right? Just sending it out into the dark, hoping for a connection. But the next time you swipe to cure a moment of loneliness, you might want to ask yourself, what are you actually inviting in? Thanks so much for joining me for this analysis. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.